Thanks so much for joining us here on Go Local Live in the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. It is truly my pleasure to have Tony Horton, who is joining us via Skype. He is the creator of the fitness series P90X and so much more. He revolutionized fitness. Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
Molly, my pleasure. Great to be here and to talk to all the people.
You have me laughing, which is probably one of your many talented traits. You have inspired so many people using humor, and so I just want to tell people why I'm giggling if they've been watching, why I kind of started this interview off with a giggle. You've used humor to inspire many people. So you just shared a story with me saying, you know, you didn't really have a purpose, you know, for so long, and you've been able to inspire so many people throughout the world. Just briefly share for me what that's been like for you in your life.
Well, you know, I mean, I was a C- student with a speech impediment called cluttering. I was an Army brat, so we moved 6 times before 5th grade. Ended up in Trumbull, Connecticut. Born in Rhode Island. I'm a Rhode Islander. Born at Westerly Hospital. But as a young kid who moved around a lot, who was small, non-athletic, had the speech issues, you know, I was a target. I was bullied all the time. You know, new schools, new teachers, new learning programs. So I was always a step behind. I almost got held back in 3rd grade. And, you know, I got my lunch money stolen and stuff in the locker. I mean, you know, the old story you've heard before. And so that's an unpleasant state to be in. And so as I got into my teens, you know, I started getting into fitness a little bit later. You know, really, I was in the football team in high school, more of a tackling dummy, really than a player. But a lot of personal development, which really helped me, which I didn't get in school. And then I came out to California, got, you know, into the health and fitness thing. That's kind of a lifestyle out here. People are just into it. Volleyball, it's sunny 322 days out of the year. And I just got caught up in it. It was a complete fluke. It was not my intention. I did not have a fitness background of any kind. And, you know, then I started learning a little bit more and doing some research about nutrition. And my first celebrity client was Tom Petty, running down a dream with Tom.
Not bad.
And it blew up. All of a sudden, I wasn't a handyman or a carpenter or a waiter anymore. I actually had a fitness business. So I was really forced to learn a lot more, you know, get my certifications and stuff. And, you know, then I met the right person at the right time, and then Power 90, P90X, X2, X3, and it's just been an amazing 17-year run, 18-year run with Beachbody.
I mean, it really has. For people who have followed you all the way through, for people who are just discovering you, you've really, like I said, revolutionized fitness, but your brand has staying power, and I think that's what is really critical. Was that important to you when you were developing these products?
You know, I wasn't thinking about that. I knew that my celebrity trainers had, you know, certain expectations for movies or you know, big rock and roll tours. There was a lot at stake, a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs on you. You know, this management company and those folks were, you know, who is this kid and why is he so special? You know, and I think the humor was part of it back then. You know, I mean, I'm not the drill sergeant type. I'm not the, you know, the kind of person that beats up on you and expects perfection. I understand that people have lives and it's difficult, and exercise isn't a lot of fun for a lot of people. So you've got to find humor. You got to be able to relate to your clients. You got to be super flexible. You know, what are the modifications? You know, if you look at P90X, Power 90X 2, I'm a big believer in letting everybody in. You know, rising tide raises all boats. So if you've got weight to lose, you've never been an athlete, hey, come on and play, and I'll show you a way to do it. And so the combination of that, and I think last but not least in that equation is variety. I mean, P90X is martial arts, it's Pilates, it's yoga, it's balance, it's proprioception, it's bodybuilding, it's weightlifting, it's body weight exercises, it's isometrics, it's, you know, it forces any and every user to get better because everyone is working on some aspect of the weaknesses. And so that's why I think P90X became this iconic brand, because it wasn't just one thing, it was more like 10 or 12 things.
And I think that's also, I agree with you, people can find what they like, go to it, and be exposed to so many different things. So it's pretty neat to be able to try things that maybe you had never heard about before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, core synergistics. What? You know, for a lot of people, Pilates, not interested. Yoga, hour-and-a-half yoga. Is this guy out of his mind? You know what I mean? But if you follow the program, it's 90 days. It's not 10 days or 15 days. These workouts are an hour long. I mean, we have P90X3. We cut those workouts in half at 30 minutes. The new program, 22-minute hardcore, which is a military boot camp, is 22 minutes. We understand that people have busy lives, but it's really about how much muscle recruitment is happening and the sequence of exercises so that you can shorten the downtime and get busier for a shorter duration so you get the most out of the routines. I mean, that's just from figuring that out after 35 years of doing this for a long time.
You've done it for a long time, and you've been able to stay relevant for a long time, continuing with that brand, with that success as well. I want to talk to you a little bit about how things have changed because of social media. I'm wondering, you mentioned in California, it's sunny, lifestyle, health and fitness is kind of a lifestyle there. How do you think social media has influenced health and fitness?
Well, you know, obviously it's instantaneous information that goes out to the planet. Yeah. You know, when I would first starting out on the East Coast, the way people exercised and trained was very different than it was, you know, 3,000 plus miles out in California. California, you know, there was aerobics classes. There was no such thing as aerobics classes in Connecticut in the 70s. It didn't exist. And bodybuilding was huge out in California. So it took a long time for information to travel from point A to point B. Now, with the advent of the internet and social media, I mean, you can see, like you look at the Ninja Warrior craze or the CrossFit craze, or even P90X or X2 or X3. Things are instantaneous. People can communicate immediately, not just over the phone, which was expensive back when I was a wee lad. You know, I mean, everything is now. You can text it. You can send photos and videos right away, and so that's a good thing. I think with a bad thing, a lot of bad trends are also disseminated outward at high rates of speed as well, and so a lot of people are being fooled and bamboozled by things that don't necessarily work. By companies who are looking more about making a buck than really helping people. So you have to you have to do your due diligence. You really got to do your research, and you got to talk to your friends and family who are seeing not only results short term but long term. And because what I'm trying to do is create a lifestyle in people. Like, okay, before you were struggling, follow this philosophy, these techniques, these methods, and then not only will you look good after 90 days, but you look pretty good after 9 years or 2 decades. That's the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do.
And I think that's really important and very informative to be able to keep that mindset, and for people to kind of do their homework and due diligence, that it's a mindset as well as a lifestyle, really. You know, you're not just going to get those Instagram pictures. You know, it takes hard work. And you have a pretty active social media life. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of your social media posts that I've seen and how you have maintained things. I saw, and just kind of how you keep up to date with things. I saw on social media that you had been experimenting with going vegan, or doing a little vegan experiment. Talk to me just a little bit about how that's been going for you, and what you think about having a vegan diet.
Well, you know, here's an interesting thing. I mean, I did an event up in Canada at CanFit Pro, or the World Fitness Expo. In front of 5,000 people, I was the keynote speaker. And so I had, I got everybody up and standing and doing the rah-rah, and then I asked them very specific questions. I asked them, and these are nutritionists, endocrinologists, doctors, coaches, gym owners. These are people in the industry. This is what they do for a living. And I said, stand up right now if you feel like you're just in the best shape you can be at your age. Like right now, you're fit, you're flexible, your agility is great. 30% of the people in the room stood up. Then I asked them about their food. And I said, okay, whether you're paleo or vegan or flexitarian or whatever you are, stand up if you got the food thing nailed down, clean. You get your 6 to 8 servings of vegetables every day. The alcohol is super low. You understand that the fuel that you put into your mouth is what energizes your body and allows you to do what you need to do physically. 10 people stood up.
Really?
And these are fitness professionals. So the conundrum here is about the food. It's always been about the food. Yeah. Of course, I make a living selling fitness, but until we as a planet, as a society, figure out how to eat healthier foods every day, 7 days a week, 12 months out of the year, then we're going to continue to have that yo-yo situation. And the thing about food is it's relentless. It's 3 to 5 times a day where you sit down and have to make a decision on whether you care more about how something tastes or how it affects not only the quality of your day, but the quality of your week and the rest of your life. And that's what food is. And so this vegan thing is an experiment to see if I can cut it all out. The meat, the fish, the chicken, the cheese, the milk, the dairy, all of it, and just live on lean proteins, plant plant-based foods, and it's been a wake-up call. I've lost 8 to 10 pounds, which is not, it's my least favorite part of it.
Yeah.
But I have all my inflammation is gone. Like my shoulders don't ache, and my knees don't ache, and my hips don't ache, and I sleep like a baby, and I can do more pull-ups because I'm not pulling up that 8 to 10 pounds anymore, you know. So my ego wants me to be bigger and, you know, all this stuff. But the way I feel supersedes everything else. And, you know, maybe I'll add in some chicken later or some eggs later. But for right now, I'm almost 30 days in, and I feel amazing, and that's what matters most.
And I think probably people have their eyes on you, not only the vegan community, but people that are interested in doing this, because I'm sure you are doing it the right way, or at least trying to do it the right way, where other people, you know, might not be doing as healthy eating. You know, they might want to go vegan or cut out certain items, but substituting with maybe not as healthy options. So people interested in how your experiment is going.
Well, you know, I was a faux vegan years ago. I mean, when I mean faux, I was eating a lot of burritos without chicken in them. And I was eating a lot of cookies, crackers, and chips that were, you know, it said vegan on the label. But I was eating too much processed food. Yeah. You know, I wasn't looking down at meals, healthy meals with brown rice and beans and kale and arugula and sweet potato and, you know, just dense, healthy, easy to pronounce ingredients that were sitting on a plate that were fresh and organic. That, because I couldn't afford it before. I went vegan because I got sick on chicken twice, and I went, okay, I'm afraid of, you know, flesh. And then it's just about educating yourself. And that's the great thing about the internet. You can, you know, Google anything, try anything. My biggest influences were Darren O'Lean and Brendan Brazier. Darren O'Lean is the creator of Shakeology. You know, this guy is a physical beast. It's just fruits and vegetables. And Brendan Brazier, the creator of Vegas, same thing. And these guys are in my ear all the time. I'm like, all right, dude. And I finally figured it out. At least for now.
At least for now. Great to hear. I do want to ask you briefly, you mentioned that you don't have a lot of inflammation, you don't ache as much. I want to chat with you. You know, you've been involved with health and fitness for quite some time now, living this active lifestyle. Have you ever faced a significant injury? And if so, how have you been able to overcome that?
Well, you know, I get a lot of, you know, whenever I do Q&As or something, I do live events, people say, hey, I hurt my leg, I can't work out for 3-6 months, what do I do? And I say, well, you know, first thing you want to do is try to control your food, obviously. You want to make sure that the nutrients are there, so you're not getting a bunch of weight. But I'll ask them, I said, so you hurt one leg, what about the other leg and your 2 arms and the rest of it? How's that work? I tore my right biceps tendon clear off. Had an operation 3 days later, and on the 4th day after the accident, I was on my stationary bike, because I don't need my arms, on a stationary bike. Within a week, I was, you know, doing, you know, 1-arm rows with weights or with bands, and I was, you know, doing plyo, and I was doing kind of, you know, modified yoga. You know, the idea here is to get the heart, lungs, and legs moving if you have a torn biceps tendon. If you have a, you know, knee operation, then you've got another leg and 2 good arms. You can still do presses and curls and rows and things with the upper body. So the idea here is to keep moving, because what I ended up doing when I tore my biceps tendon was I cut my rehab time in half.
Wow.
It was supposed to be 12 weeks, and my doctor said, God, at 6 weeks, you're good to go. I mean, you know, don't overdo it. You know, you want to be safe. And so, you know, the thing is that we all kind of sit around, you know, choosing the easier option because our doctors say so. And obviously, you got to listen to your doctor. I'm not saying you're not supposed to listen to them. But at the same time, if you've got a leg injury and you're doing everything right that you're supposed to be doing for that leg, elevating it, icing it, doing whatever you're doing, you know, let's see what you can do to the rest of your body without, you know, overexerting the other limb that is injured. Obviously, if you've got spine injuries or back injuries, that's another level. You know, you've really got to listen to your physical therapist and doc and stuff. You know, I've had those injuries before, but I got a torn labrum, arthritis, bursitis, 2 bone spurs in my right shoulder. But because of yoga, ice baths, cold showers, massage, physical therapy, and foam rolling, this shoulder, you know, clicks and whatever, but I'm able to do almost anything the other shoulder can do, and I've got all these issues. Obviously, I've had knee issues, but I've, you know, foam rolling and ice baths and things. I mean, you got to be proactive. I mean, I'm 59 years old, and I want to be able to do the same things I could do at 29, and I can, and better, because I have more information that allows me to do it. Now, nutrition's obviously important. Hydration is huge. You know, low on the alcohol. You got to control your stress. People will do everything right, and they're stressed out of their mind, and they die young. Oops! It's because these external forces were creating so much bad energy on their adrenal glands and cortisol levels that it's just the internal organs couldn't take it. So you got to learn to chill. You got to let that pendulum swing in the other direction, right? Yin and yang, really important. I'm a great fan of taking naps and meditating and relaxing and playing with my dogs and just reading and turning off the TV. That's healing time, and most people don't get enough hours of sleep. They're not getting their 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep. It's restless. It's 6 hours, and they can't figure out why they got aches and pains and wake up and crave Captain Crunch and coffee in the morning.
Oh, breakfast. I like that. I think definitely probably could work on that, doing the yoga, but also doing the meditation part at the end. So completing the circle. I think that's always good to do.
Yeah, people think about meditation, they go, what? I grew up in Rhode Island. We don't meditate in Rhode Island. Not interested. But you can sit quietly for 5 minutes with your eyes closed and try not to think about stuff.
Think about the ocean. We're in Rhode Island.
That's meditation. It's really that. You know what I mean? Take some deep breaths. Set a timer for 5 minutes. It's just because there's so much information and stress and craziness coming into our lives that it's nice to have a respite for 5 simple minutes because it's restorative. It helps reconnect the brain to the body, and it will bring up some really powerful emotions for some people. And then what it does, it also gives you the intel to kind of go after the rest of your day or the rest of your week. It's super powerful, and it doesn't have to be this hour-long, lotus position on a mountain, doesn't have to be that.
Very insightful. Before we let you go, Tony, because I know you're a very busy man, I do want to ask you because you did go to the University of Rhode Island, I wanted to ask you if you have any fun stories to share with us about your connection to Rhode Island or the University of Rhode Island.
Well, 80% of those stories I can't tell. Because I grew up in the 70s in Rhode Island. But, it's funny, because URI there was a semester at URI that changed my life. And it was a weightlifting course that I took at URI. And I was a tennis player, not very good, golfer, not very good, skier, not very good. I couldn't play full court hoop because I didn't have the stamina, But I took this weightlifting class, this exercise class, and for the first time in my life, I had a teacher who was cool, who was funny, who was normal, who treated us like our peers, like equals. And, he wasn't screaming and yelling at me like a coach had. And he just kind of showed me the way. And over the course of the semester, my belly disappeared, my six-pack arrived, I had shoulders and biceps for the first time. I thought, well, I'll get all the girls now. And it turns out, oh, you need personality too. That came later. But it was real. It was a pivotal. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, exercise doesn't have to be this arduous, awful, terrible, thing that you don't look forward to. If the person you're working with or the company that you keep, even if it's not a coach, but at least the people that you're with, you make it light, you make it easy, you push yourself a little bit, make it competitive, but not overly competitive. It's sort of finding that balance, and that's what I learned at URI. So it was a big deal at the time.
Definitely set you up for who you are today. So I would like to thank you so much for joining us today on Go Local.